Ladies and gentlemen, this fight is 3 rounds in the APFC at a catch weight of 142 pounds. Sponsored by Third Coast T-Shirts. And now introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner, a mixed martial artist. He stands 5 feet 4 inches tall and officially weighed in at 141 1/2 pounds. Coming in tonight, making his debut, damas y caballeros de San Juan, Puerto Rico, Carlos, el de la batuta, Moreno. And across the cage, his opponent, fighting out of the red corner, a mixed martial artist. He stands 5 feet 7 inches tall and officially weighed in 145 pounds. Coming in tonight with a record of 1 victory and no defeats, and fighting out of Rock Hill, South Carolina, Pedro, the Emperor Acosta. And your referee in charge is Mike King.
Third man inside, Mike King, for this catchweight contest. Here's the quick tell of the tape. Debut for Moreno, 1-0 for Rock Hill, South Carolina's Acosta. 1 year separates them, 3 inches in height. That tell of the tape brought to you by First Heritage Mortgage. You can see Acosta in the multicolored, whereas Moreno in the all black as he slams Pedro to the canvas, David.
Moreno came right out and got to what he is great at. He got to the money with that beautiful shot. Now he's in a great position with his opponent's back against the cage, maybe looking to transition to an arm triangle once he passes the guard, as we just saw shades of that.
Acosta doing the right things here, maybe trying to threaten for a submission of his own. That armbar could be tight, David.
It is tight. He did a great job switching his hips, getting his feet up, locked that arm in. It was looking like it was going to be over, but Moreno able to weather the storm, get back into a good position here. But now we know he's going to be active. His opponent, Acosta, is going to be active on the bottom there. Moreno cannot rest, especially with his arms on the mat.
Moreno did not come all the way from Puerto Rico to be submitted, but that's just what the Emperor is trying to do. Here in round 1, a minute has gone by.
Acosta doing a great job keeping Moreno's head down, not letting him build and posture up, and he's just constantly working. You see he's using his foot to try to get an angle on his hips to possibly throw up maybe another arm bar or even create space to get back up to his feet.
When talking with Pedro Acosta, he did tell us that he thought Moreno was a boxer, simply a striker, but we know that that's not the case. This might be surprising for him early in round number 1.
I'm not quite sure where he thought his opponent was a boxer. Yeah. I mean, that double leg was as pretty as, you know, any I've ever seen, and just the pressure even here on top. Moreno's doing a great job on top using his head. You don't really see a lot of guys do that, but wherever the head goes, the body follows. So Moreno's doing a great job being on top, keeping his hips square, and grinding his head into the head of Acosta. It doesn't look like he's doing much, but believe me, that is not comfortable to be on the bottom there.
If you're the Emperor, how do you get yourself back to your feet?
So if you're the Emperor, you gotta, he wants to get his heels on Moreno's hips to try to push his hips away from him to create space, and then come inside. So he's hanging on that left side overhook on the bottom there, but that's all that's gonna do for you is you're gonna hang there. But he's up to his feet now.
Moreno back in on a takedown. Acosta threatening with a guillotine. 40 seconds to go. Looks like the grip has been broken.
Moreno just exploded back in on that double, but he has to be careful, as we see Acosta has been setting traps from the bottom there. Almost got that guillotine, you know, just kind of left his neck exposed there to Moreno.
Some up kick attempts from Acosta, but this round has been a grueling pace set by Puerto Rico's Moreno.
Moreno just grinding on top. What he needs to do is try to pass here. He's not punching a lot. Now, me as a wrestler, and you see often in wrestlers, we don't really need to pass a guard because we're comfortable just ground and pounding there. But Moreno's not really doing much damage from the top position, so I would like to maybe see him get past the shins there of his opponent, Acosta, and go to work. But great round there from Moreno.
Round 2 ahead between Pedro Acosta and Carlos Moreno. Heavy wrestling approach from the Puerto Rican, and if you're Pedro Acosta in between rounds, what would you be thinking?
He has to get off his back foot. Moreno came out and just pulled the trigger right away, and Acosta never really recovered. He just had been sitting back, kind of playing defense here. Now we have on the replay, you see Moreno going right in for that inside single, switched off, double leg, and drove Acosta across the mat there, which was just beautiful. Now he's on top, good hip position, keeping his hip squares, had good head position. Acosta fought up, so we know that he can work his way up. However, Moreno just relentless there with the takedown, not giving up there. But as we saw again, Acosta is setting traps off of his back. I would like to see him more offensive going into the second round.
This second round of this catchweight contest brought to you by Third Coast T-shirts, best apparel provider in the game. Acosta looking as intense as ever, ahead of a hopefully more successful second round for him.
Acosta coming out looking to, shake hands there in the second round. You don't usually see that often.
Moreno trying to indicate maybe a low blow. Acosta landing with a nice cross moments ago.
Both guys just comfortable now sitting on the outside. You kind of see that timidness when guys start just spamming leg kicks. No one wants to come in, which I'm surprised, because if I'm Moreno, I'm like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Let's just explode right into our wrestling. And here he is right here in a great over-under position with his opponent's back against the cage, looking to just drive and pressure Acosta.
That was a vicious jumping elbow from Moreno. Looked straight out of Phuket.
Yeah, it was beautiful. I mean, if he would have set it up a little bit more, it probably would have been more effective, but it was definitely nice to look at and give your opponent something to think about. Now here we have Acosta here on the offensive. I want to see where he's going to look to go to work.
He's content to just fire knees up into the midsection. A minute gone by in round two. Pedro Acosta definitely has some physical advantages over Moreno.
Acosta tried to sneak that elbow over the top there. It wasn't clean, but then Moreno took a page out of his book and was like, I'm going to show you how to do it. Landed a nice elbow over the top.
Single leg attempt for Moreno, evaded by the Emperor, but elbow over the top connects. David, this is a different kind of phone booth fighting that we were seeing in round one.
Yes, definitely a war of attrition here. Now, we still have Moreno is more so on the offensive. I think Acosta, even though he got into some advantageous positions, he seems to be a little more laxed, and Moreno's just kind of taking it to fifth gear in every position and winning so far.
First fight of the night here in Richmond, Virginia, as Moreno briefly brings Acosta to the canvas, now secures the position. 60 seconds left on the clock. Would probably want to prioritize damage, I would say, David.
I mean, Moreno's just comfortable just smothering Acosta here. And I think over time what we're going to see is the more that he smothers his opponent, we're going to see Acosta break in certain positions. And I think that's where Moreno's going to look to maybe explode, throw some ground and pound, or maybe even look to finish if he can pass the hips.
Closed guard here for the Emperor with 30 seconds to go. Moreno stacking him like pancakes right now.
He's stacking them, but he cannot relax here. As we saw Acosta throw up that arm bar. Looks like it's not tight, but the transition there. So even if you're an experienced martial artist, you throw an attack like that, you use this to get up. And Acosta's doing a great job playing the chess match here. He didn't get the submission, but now he's in a better position if he doesn't give up his back here to Moreno.
The tenacity from the Puerto Rican showing here in the final 10 seconds.
Front headlock position by Moreno. Let's see where he looks to go here.
Third round ahead between Pedro Acosta and Carlos Moreno. North Carolina versus Puerto Rico to kick things off. Now, if you're Carlos Moreno ahead of this third and final round, David, what would you focus on?
Close the distance. We saw what happened when he closes the distance, whether he's getting in on the shots, whether he's in the clinch position. He's dominant from there. Don't give Acosta space and room to work here. He's been pretty lax. He's thrown up some submissions here, but this is where we've seen Moreno dominate, whether it's on the mat or on the feet. Whenever he's smothering his opponent, he has good head position. Switching down to his leg attacks, that was a beautiful inside single leg attempt there. Just kind of keeping Acosta on his toes, no pun intended, and just grinding him away at the cage. We need to do more of that. Don't open up. You're up too, right? This is a chess match. We're playing the long game here so far. So keep sticking to your wrestling. Watch your hands when you're in the mat, because Acosta is just like setting traps like it's nobody's business here.
I do love the up kicks, but the urgency to pop back up to the feet, not as present in this catchweight affair. Third and final round. Moreno and Acosta. Pedro sticking with the jab early. There's a body kick that slips its way through.
Now we're starting to see the footwork there of Acosta. When he's moving and he has space, he's landing. He's not doing very much damage, but he probably should have started off doing this in the first round. Beautiful liver kick there.
And Moreno wanted that elbow once again. Acosta with a couple beautiful strikes.
Acosta just kind of started off the fight maybe about 100 yards behind Moreno, where he's just now picking up his pace, throwing some touches there, just kind of moving, but it may be too little too late.
Nice land there from Moreno. Overhand right connects, not much sauce on it. That combo had a little bit more mustard, David.
That had a little too much sauce. That beautiful uppercut faked the takedown, and now they're looking to bang here.
Still within this first minute of round number 3, Pedro Acosta has to get himself into this fight, I feel, David.
My only concern here for both guys is their throw. Neither one of these guys are taking their head off the center line. They're just looking to throw their attacks and land, but they're not thinking defensively. I wouldn't want to see Moreno put forth this beautiful work of art and then get caught.
Well, some masterpieces get thrown in the trash, especially if you're up against someone named the Emperor as he goes for a takedown of his own. Would you say that might not be the wisest decision from Acosta if you're down 2 rounds?
Not necessarily. He seems to have a great jiu-jitsu game. So, I mean, not that I'm going to be an advocate for pulling guard here, guys, but this is MMA, right? There are so many ways to win. And, you know, getting your opponent on the mat, submitting them off your back, that can be a game plan. You won't see me doing it, but maybe it'll work for Acosta. That's the most success that we've seen from him throughout this fight.
Nice reversal there from the Emperor. 1:20 left on the clock in this fight. Something special must happen, in my opinion, for him to be successful. Oh,
in those scramble situations, high hips win, and Moreno being the wrestler, as you can saw, he knew that. He made that adjustment, got his hips high. Now he's in a great position on top in half guard, which is what I said earlier. When he passes guard, look for him to have some success, whether it be a submission or landing his ground and pound. Now he's looking for that arm triangle. The only issue is going to be the cage. So once he gets over to that side, he needs to use his right foot, push off the cage, but he goes right to the back position. And now he can threaten from here.
Solid defense from Acosta, but he might have gone from the frying pan into the fire. 30 seconds to go. Now, David, this isn't a beach, but Carlos Moreno's wrestling is looking fantastic.
Hey, and he's riding a wave right now with all these dang attacks and submissions he's throwing, man. He almost had an arm triangle, switched to the back. Now he's fighting for the rear naked choke. And I think the story of this fight for Moreno has just been control all the way through.
Absolutely agree with you. Carlos Moreno representing Puerto Rico, in all likelihood successful here in his APFC debut. El de la Batuta, the beach wrestler, getting it done. David Evans, walk me through this replay from our first fight.
Here we have Moreno. He's been explosive. He's done a great job this entire fight, just closing the distance in and out. Whenever he closes that distance, look for him to shoot. Look for him to throw his strikes, and he's doing a great job at that. Controlling this entire fight, even when he's not controlling, even when they're neutral here. He's constantly moving his hands. He's constantly feinting the takedowns, feinting the hands. Acosta got off on the shot, which we were surprised to see that towards the latter end of this round, and it's been much of the same. I mean, Acosta, whenever he was in an offensive position, just really couldn't capitalize on it, and Moreno did a great job of making adjustments throughout the fight. Getting his hips high, getting into that side guard position, threatened the arm triangle, was landing some good ground and pound. I think this is going to be an easy unanimous decision win for Moreno.
What a good fight to set the tone here in Richmond, Virginia, between Pedro Acosta and Carlos Moreno. I love to see the respect and sportsmanship as we send it inside to handsome Michael Hansen to find out the decision.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 3 rounds of action, we go to the scorecards. And the judges scored the contest 30-27, 30-27, and 29-28, all for the winner by unanimous decision, Carlos El de la Batuta Moreno.
Now an undefeated mixed martial artist, Puerto Rico's own Carlos Moreno, successful in his APFC debut. And a backflip for good measure. And another partially landed. I love the energy from this guy.
I don't know if there was the third one. I think his career would have been over before it started, man. I don't